Antonio, anyway, man. Top 10 place scary thing. Cabin Cool, you should definitely never visit. Let's get it, go.
Hello everybody, I'm your host Woody, and today we're going to be taking a look at top 10 places scarier than the catacombs you should definitely never visit. But hey, I can't tell you what to do, so maybe this will just be a vacation list for you. Let's get into it. Number 10, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Kentucky. In the early 20th century, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium was created in Louisville, Kentucky, in order to treat patients suffering from tuberculosis. These days, it's considered one of the most haunted places in the United States. Over the course of its life, the building saw around 63,000 people die within its walls, many of those being attributed not to illness, but instead mistreatment and cruel experiments. People who visit say that they can see people's shadows on the walls and hear screams, despite no one else being there. It's also apparently very common to walk into cold spots, which are a well-known sign of ghosts and spirits being around. One of the most haunted parts of this building are the tunnels that are underneath it, which were used for transporting and disposing of...
What the fuck is that? Oh, what the fuck is this? Y'all probably can't see my mouse. What the fuck is this right here? Look in the first picture. Look by the door. Who that?
Building are the tunnels that are underneath it, which were used for transporting and disposing...
I don't understand how niggas be having the fucking balls to just be randomly going to the haunted ass places and exploring the motherfuckers like it ain't nothing. Like, man, if you don't sit your ass down, the fuck? Where your ass tripping?
Of dead bodies. People who are brave enough can take tours through the tunnels that once saw many faces passing through. Number 9, Sedlec Ossuary in the Czech Republic. If you're a fan of the thousands of skeletons displayed within the Paris catacombs, then Sedlec Ossuary in the Czech Republic is the place for you. It is a small Roman Catholic chapel that lies beneath the cemetery Church of All Saints. The chapel contains the remains of around 40,000 people, the bodies having been displayed artistically to form the supports and decorations of the area. Most of the bodies come from the plague and from the Hussite Wars, and it became a very desirable burial ground when soil from the place that Jesus had been crucified was scattered across the land by a man named Henry in 1278. One of the main standouts of this location is the massive chandelier that is made entirely of human remains, hanging right in the center of the room. Due to its creepy and macabre nature, it has been featured in horror movies like Blood and Chocolate. Number 8, Snake Island in Brazil. This next place is not about ghost stories or human remains, but is instead scary for those of us who aren't big fans of snakes. Judging by its name, you can probably guess that Snake Island is home to plenty of these slithery critters. The island can be found just off the coast of Sao Paulo and is 110 acres. Despite its relatively small size, it's home to more than 4,000 snakes. One of these, including a species of viper with a venom that is capable of melting human flesh.
This thing about snake, I'm not afraid to look at a snake or afraid of a snake. Actually, I don't even want to touch them. I was like that for real. I have touched one before. You know, when you're young, you just kind of feel shit cool, but when you get older, you get confident. It's like, all right, no, nigga. All right, so. Snakes ain't nasty, but when they... Have you ever seen snakes, like, roll around with each other? Like, they just wrestling, but they rolling around, slithering. That's when they become nasty as shit. And I'm like, ugh, dude, that's nasty as fuck.
Called the golden lacehead viper. So even if you do like snakes, you will still probably want to avoid this place. Reports say that you can find a snake every square meter on the island. There apparently did used to be people living on the island from 1909 to the 1920s. Them being...
Like, dude, you was... nigga, you gotta be fucking crazy if you think you finna just swim on this little ass canoe across this... all these damn snakes and think it's just normal.
But the rumor goes that the inhabitants died when snakes overtook the house, coming in through the windows. Number 7, Freeman Ranch in Texas. This one is again not any sort of...
Whoa, we in Texas currently. So what's up? Let me look up Freeman Ranch so I don't want to be a part of it. What would I do? My bad, y'all.
story, but is still incredibly creepy to look at and think about. Freeman Ranch in Texas is a 3,500-acre plot of land between San Marcos and Wimberley in central Texas. It is a working ranch, but not one for just animals. Instead, also devoted to various different fields of research, including forensic anthropology. If you don't know what that means, it means that they leave human remains on the land to decompose, so that they can then come back later and study the process. It was founded back in 1941 by Harold Freeman and his brother Joe, and the land where the remains are kept is known as the Body Farm. Freaky. To make this a little more lighthearted, though, it's professionally known as the Forensic Anthropology Research Facility, or FARF. I don't know about you, but I think that's a pretty damn funny acronym. FARF. Number 6, Chowchilla Cemetery.
Oh my god, here we go to deal with the egg.
A personal mission to get revenge on this scammer, and now, a few months later, I've completed.
Alright.
In Peru. Once again, if you're a fan of bones, then it may be worthwhile for you to make a trip over to Chowchilla Cemetery in Peru. This cemetery contains very well-preserved remains of pre-Spanish conquest bodies. It was utilized for apparently around 600 to 700 years before being closed in the 9th century and being rediscovered in 1920. The bodies were buried in pits and placed in sitting positions, the dry climates allowing them to maintain their clothing and even
Yo, bro, like, come on, bro. Like, why do people gotta do this? Why do people gotta do something like this, man? Why you can't just let a person die a normal way? Oh, man. Hold up. Okay, why y'all can't let a person die a normal way? Why do they gotta die in a sitting position? Like, what type of timing do these niggas be on?
Their hair, becoming naturally made mummies. Due to the maintenance of the bodies and surrounding artifacts, it became an incredibly popular spot for grave robbers, the cemetery being under attack for years. But in 1997, it finally came under the protection of the Peruvian government and is now a popular tourist spot. Some people who have visited the area say that it often feels like the skeletons are staring right at you, as if they're trying to tell you something. Number 5, Island of the Dolls in Mexico. I know, I've mentioned this one before on a similar list, but I just have to bring it up again because of how downright creepy it is. In the mid-20th century, a man named Don Julian left his wife in order to live on an island alone. Shortly after moving in, however, he found a body floating in the river, along with what appeared to be their doll. In order to appease their spirit, he hung the doll from a tree on the island. And then he never stopped, continuing to find dolls from nearby areas and even the trash, and hanging them around the island for years until his own passing in 2001. The island is now absolutely covered in these dolls, all in various states of disrepair and appearing quite creepy. It is a popular spot for ghost hunters, as many people believe that the dolls on the island are haunted, their eyes apparently moving to look at you and hands raising up to reach out to you. Number 4, Museum Vrolijk in the Netherlands. Similar to Freeman Ranch in Texas, Museum Vrolijk in the Netherlands is not littered with ghost stories or tragic history, but is instead just what its name suggests, a museum. But it's not your typical museum, and you certainly wouldn't want to take a group of kids there on an afternoon school field trip. Located inside the University of Amsterdam and created by a Dutch pathologist and anatomist, the museum is home to many creepy and out-of-the-ordinary things. It has various body parts from both humans and animals, usually exhibiting different aspects of embryology, pathology, and anatomy. These being the studies of fetus development, disease and injury, and body structures, respectively. It also has many different remains and casts that showcase different malformations and medical anomalies. So I guess this might be a good destination if you're into that sort of thing, but I know that I am not. Number 3, Leap Castle in Ireland. If you're a fan of more historic locations, then you may be interested in learning about Leap Castle in Ireland. Considered to be one of the most haunted castles in the world. Most people attribute this to the fratricide that was committed there in the 13th century. Fratricide meaning the killing of siblings. It also apparently contains the spirits of the many prisoners that were once held and even executed there. The chapel that is on the castle grounds is apparently where the fratricide took place. One of the sons of the family killing his priest brother in order to gain power. People now say that in this chapel you can see light coming through the windows even in the middle of the night. You can smell burning rubber, and the ghost of the priest is said to often appear. This castle has a long and creepily interesting history, so if you're interested in learning more about it, I recommend looking it up for yourself to get some more detail. Number 2. Lake Natron in Tanzania. Now let's move away from man-made horrors and take a look at some more natural ones. Lake Natron is located in northern Tanzania and is, of course, a lake. What's different about it, though, is its incredibly high salt content and temperatures of up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. Only a few animals have adapted to live on this deadly shore, only one species of fish, and groups of flamingos that feed on the algae. Any other animals who get too close, though, will be burned and die. What is most interesting about it, though, is that when they die, the body they leave behind appears like a stone statue. So when the water recedes, the bodies wash up on shore, leaving behind a horrifying tableau. Photographer Nick Brandt discovered this and took photos of the birds and other animals as though they were alive, and they are incredibly creepy to look at. Number 1, Bran Castle in Romania. Another scary castle, let's head over to Romania to Bran Castle. Another place boasting being one of the scariest castles in the world. You most likely know this place for its other name of Dracula's Castle. That's because it was allegedly home to Vlad III, who is more commonly known as Vlad Dracula or Vlad the Impaler. Known for brutally impaling his enemies, he became the inspiration of Bram Stoker's horror novel Dracula. If you actually do choose to visit the castle, however, you will probably learn more about Romanian Queen Maria than you will about the historical Dracula. One of the creepiest elements of this castle is that in one of the chapels is a gold casket, and inside of that casket is Queen Marie's heart. In the area surrounding the castle, it's said that there are many undead spirits that would haunt the villagers at night, and there are many reports of ghosts from within the castle itself. Thank you guys for watching. That was 10 places.
I can't live by no haunted shit. I'm just gonna keep it real. I cannot live by no haunted shit, bro. It is what it is, bro.